Okay, already guidepost 12. We're moving along here and we're drilling down into the whole idea of accountability, and we want to focus this week on trust. That's what we've sort of been talking about. Because you can't have accountability unless you have an agreement, and you can't form durable agreements unless you have trust. So what is trust and how do we form it? So in our conversation this past week, and we'll continue to play with this idea, but one of the things that came up is that trust is actually, we talk about it in different ways. In one way, trust is an attitude that we bring to the world. I'm going to enter into my relationships with others in such a way that I am open and I'm seeking a connection and I'm believing the best about others, and I'm going to trust that the world is going to, or that others are going to show up for me in a responsible way. And this is largely what the document that Jane has shared with us in terms of her own kind of statement of how it is she wants to show up in her life is about how do I enter into relationships where I'm trusting others by trusting myself, because it's also interior to ourselves. And it's that interior sense of trust. Can I count on me to be able to be resilient and to show up and to do these things? That sort of becomes a bedrock for, or kind of the beginning place for how we begin to build trust in a relationship, which is the second kind of trust that we're talking about. Trust as a quality that develops in relationships with others as the relationship goes along, as we continue to relate, and kind of as a loop, we're continuing to create this relationship. And this is typically true. There are three things that we need to have for trust as a quality to exist within the relationship. First is that we have to know each other. Do I know you? Do you know me? Do we know that do we feel known by the other? Are you treating me as though I am who I believe myself to be? Second thing is respect, honor, appreciation, valuing. Do we see each other as worthy of our own being? Are we valuable? Do we have compassion for each other? Are we connected in such a way that we feel a kind of mutual support? So how do I think? How do I feel? But also, how do I act? The third one is, am I making choices that are considerate of the other's best interest, and are they making choices that are considerate of mine? Are we acting in ways that are considerate of the other? It doesn't mean that we're acting in ways that the other is expecting or demanding even. It's that we know about each other, that we're paying attention to the impact that we have on each other. And to the degree to which we are knowing each other, respecting each other, and acting on each other's behalf, we are constructing trust as a quality within the relationship. Okay, another thing that came up. And this was around the fact that one of the reasons that we find it difficult to trust is that we live in a world in which there are certain systems of oppression. There are patterns by which people, one group or category of people, we may dominate another because of race, because of gender, because of class, because of there's all kinds of reasons, age, ability. So what we're looking at here is in the construction of accountability is one party or the other, and particularly am I giving myself permission to be dominant in the relationship? Is there some way in which I say, oh, well, I have a right to make this decision, be in charge, be in some sense in control, not just of the outcome, but of the process? Right. So one of the things we want to look at is this whole question of supremacy. And where does that come from? This is the tricky part, when sometimes I'm experiencing the other as a threat to me. What you believe, how you feel, the way you see the world is in fact going to compromise my own well-being. And so therefore, in order to be safe, I have to, in some sense, dominate you. So in these polarizations that we're experiencing in the world now, around elections, around climate change, around mask wearing, around all these different issues that have us socially polarized, part of what we come to see is that the other is holding a position that is dangerous for me. It's not that the person is necessarily themselves dangerous, but because they hold a perspective that many people hold, and it's freaking me out because if you folks are dominant, something precious to me is going to be taken from me. And so out of my terror, my fear, and my belief in my right to have what I'm expecting, I may choose to be dominant. I choose a kind of supremacy. All right, so these are the topics that we've been dealing with, and we will continue to wrestle with this coming Sunday evening. I hope you're able to join us.